Hey, 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 and fancy doing a live stream in my kitchen on a Saturday night. It's very weird, but let's face it, there are some weird things happening, you guys. So I feel that coming to you casually in my kitchen while I'm cooking, being in lockdown by choice, I chose to go into lockdown. I guess mainly because I was in a public place. So I chose to go into lockdown for 5 days at least from the point of when I was in a very, very public place. And I'm choosing to go 14 days into quarantine from my people. So when I say my people, old people and babies and things like that. So, you know, the fact is that we have this potential world crisis going on. And, you know, the fact is, what do you do with your time when you are in a position like this? So as you're jumping in, because Saturday night is not a night that I would usually go live, it is usually I would come to you and I would talk to you about the power of your mind, you know, what you can do to actually create something epic for yourself. And I even talked about the power of intention, but I'm going to have a rather what I call woo-woo conversation with you. And in this woo-woo conversation, I would like to make a disclaimer that I'm doing this for entertainment. I'm not doing this for business purposes or anything as such. I'm doing this because I can. And I'm cooking tonight because I've been in lockdown. I haven't really been able to go to the shops, except for the fact I did walk to the shop with my dog, but I stayed outside where I was away from lots of people and basically didn't touch anything. And now I'm just going to cook something that looks a little bit like Kentucky Fried Chicken. It doesn't look very exciting, right, you guys? But as I said, this live stream is, I want to talk to you about something a little woo-woo. And it is my take on universal laws that I believe is around the coronavirus. And you're going to have to bear with me while I'm cooking in my kitchen. As I said, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And something I never do, I'm usually sitting in front of something that looks magnificent, but I figure that you guys can take me as I am. And maybe why don't you consider doing a live stream as well and say hello as you're jumping in. So I'm going to grab myself a wine. So just give me a second, you guys. I need to get myself a glass. And Ian, would you like a glass of red? Yeah, glass of red wine coming up. Would you like to have a glass with me? And hello, Joanna Cameron, a very, very talented hypnotherapist from the United States who I got to meet. And hello, this is a casual live stream. And I guess I'm doing it because there's a lot of people that are stuck in at home. And what do you do when you're stuck at home? You know, what sort of things? Like today, what have I done? I have created epic content, I will say, epic content, you guys, for my program, for my people that are in my high-end program, because I've got 3 layers, and the first layer is therapy, where you release the trauma and stress from your life, a bit like Joanna does with people's pain. She drains that pain from their body. And incidentally, Joanna, can I ask you, it's good morning to you, it's good evening here for us. Can I ask you a question, Joanna, while I've got you here? What do you think about an energy surgeon online, where you've got someone like Dr. Ian, who's my husband, who is a chiropractor, and because he's familiar with kinesiology, he knows how to surrogate people, and he also is familiar with hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, and because he has a lot of patients who are suffering, but a lot of them can't come out to clinic. And I'm just wondering, if somebody was in pain, what do you think about a chiropractic doing energy healing online? What do you think about that? Specifically, muscle testing through surrogation. That means that he can find out where the actual pain is coming by testing the body. So just a thought, if you can give me an answer on that, Joanna, bottoms up everybody. I'm just going to get a lid for my potatoes because they've got to go into the microwave. So it is mashed potato and chicken tonight. And now I'm going to tell you my woo-woo story. If you want to hear my woo-woo story, Joanna, you might be really interested in hearing this. And I'd love to get your take, you being a spiritual energy healer and such a divine, gifted person. How long shall I put my potatoes on for? Let's go 17 minutes. Okay, so do you want my take? I'd like to give you my take on the idea. Firstly, Joanna says the chiropractic energy healing online, all is possible. Yes, 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 yes. I had a kinesiology session with someone and they were able to surrogate me by asking me questions and finding out where my issues actually came from. So she would ask me about my emotions and she would be able to track through her own muscle testing what age, you know, the trauma started or where it all began. Energy goes where energy flows. Yes. And I know also, Joanna, you would agree with the power of intention. The power of intention is just so vital, right? I reached that Drain That Pain training online. Yes, you do. Absolutely. And so I guess it's very similar to my own work. And what I love about it is there is no competition because each and every person has their own journey. And so what I base my journey upon is healing people from trauma and blocks and stress that are holding them back in their life. Now, you know, you were in a class with me, Joanna, where I took another professional person through finding the superhero in you, which is really where your pain and the trauma of your pain becomes your fame. So what happened is, as I took this lady through this system of finding firstly what she wanted, her why in life, you know, and it was a big why. I'm not going to go into details because it's confidential. I won't tell you who I was working with, but it was a professional person. And the idea is that when you actually eliminate the trauma and the blocks in a person's body and their mind and you shift it, it actually frees them to go forward. Bottoms up. So in doing this, I spoke to her 2 days later after I'd gone through this massive process, and Joanna works very similar to me. We kind of do very fast, rapid trajectory work. So we see ascension happening in people so fast. But I still haven't got to my take. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers to you too. I still haven't got to my take on the coronavirus and what I feel energetically this is about. So first of all, if we can heal people, like Joanna heals people physically, and you know, I do that too, but quite often when you're shifting people emotionally and you're releasing so much stuff, we don't have to know any stuff, right, Joanna? We don't have to know story. We don't have to find out, you know, that the next door neighbour's cat ran away with the budgerigar and had an affair with the, I don't know, the rabbit down the road. Let's just say, for example, we don't need story. What we need is we need emotion, and we need to help the person to understand that the emotions that they've had is a pattern that's quite often metaphoric. Now here comes, I'm going to get a little bit woo-woo. So the subconscious mind does not know the difference between fantasy and reality, you guys. I've got my potatoes on, I've got my chicken cooking in the oven, Saturday night, very informal live stream. So it doesn't know the difference between good, bad, right or wrong. It just does whatever it feels it needs to do on an energetic level to give the person what they want and what they need that correlates with the frequency. So quite often people get sick and we know there's a higher purpose. A person gets sick and there's a higher purpose for it, right? And quite often that higher purpose, when it's met and the person knows that there's always a high intention behind whatever is going on in the person's life, it can shift it. So with patterns that are locked in, so I was writing copy today for one of my coaches who I'm helping them develop a program. And it's about women who are used and abused. And so it's women that have been trodden over and who have not been treated well. So I know this coach has obviously felt into that pain, and her pain is actually her conquering of that pain is her fame, because she then becomes an authority with my tools to help somebody else out there authentically who has had relationship breakdowns, who has been used and abused, has been trodden over. And incidentally, if you'd like to be a case study for this, so that you can actually quit the pattern and understand that everything that happened to you for a reason. There was a higher purpose. Even your greatest, some people would call them perpetrators, but let's face it, we're not victims here, guys, but some of the people that hurt you and wounded you the most in your life, they were your greatest teachers. I'm still not getting to my story about the coronavirus and energetically what I feel is going on here, but I will get to it. I just need you to understand a little bit about the reason I'm coming from this before I actually get to the point. So if we're working metaphorically and in the spiritual realm, the subconscious, the universe is going according to frequency, and really everything is a high intention. What if the coronavirus was actually sending a message? Now, what are the clear messages? Firstly, I'm going to do a reading here. Now, the reading is a reading, not a clairvoyant reading, because I'm not into that. I know that they're very gifted people, but I believe in being a master of one's own destiny. This is a reading on what is happening in the world. So what is actually happening, just one moment, I'll just give Ian his wine, okay? Ian, do you want your red wine? Patient viewers, if they're still there when I get there. Okay, so here I am back again. So what actually happens is, on an energetic level, what I'm reading in the universe is there's isolation. So one of the things that we are called to do is isolate. Now write down in the comments if you know any of the things that are expected to us. So one of them is isolate. The second one is to be clean. Would you agree? If you agree, just send me some hearts. So I'm doing a reading here on what my take is on this universal, from a universal perspective on the coronavirus. So isolation, cleanliness, and social distance. Yeah? Like me, I did walk to the shop today, but I did not go inside the shopping centre. I stood outside and I made sure I was well away from anybody and everybody. The only person I was close to was my dog. And that's not a person, right? Okay, so what have we got? 3 things so far. Isolation, cleanliness, social distance. Anything else? Now I'm going to tell you a story. And the story is about the 16 laws of success, aka Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is the watered down version of Napoleon Hill's The 16 Laws of Success. And I'm a teacher of that subject, and I took a class for this in 2016. And let's just say that when Napoleon passed away, he had his book, one chapter was locked away in a vault. And what had happened was this actual chapter was called, wait for it, Outwitting the Devil, right? Conversations with the Devil, Outwitting the Devil. I know this is not a very uplifting subject. I taught on this and my whole world got totally turned upside down. And it was on an energetic level, it was a tough topic. But this was a chapter locked away in a vault. Nobody was supposed to get it. It is not written in the Think and Grow Rich book. And Napoleon Hill talks about, he has conversations with himself really. It's kind of like him having an argument with himself or the dark side, the devil. See, we all have that. We all have that, emotion, whether it's pain, whether it's, whatever it is, you guys. I'm just here for your amusement on a Saturday night. I would never come usually. I'm giving the take on my reading on what I believe is the universal purpose for the coronavirus. So I've talked about 16 laws of success and how Napoleon Hill talks about a chapter that was locked away in a vault called Outwitting the Devil, and how it's really the darkness. It's like we have a choice. You can decide everything about your life. You can decide that you are not going to put up with whatever it is that you're going through. You can decide you are no longer going to be in pain and you're going to ask a question. What is it that I need to do to make a difference in the life of other people? What is it that I need to do to be a light to the world? What is it that I need to do? Isolation is the universal way of telling you to go within, yes, and meet your inner being. I love that, Joanna. I love that. I knew you were divinely appointed on this live stream. So as I'm doing an energetic healing, I'm not doing an energetic healing, sorry, scratch that, guys. As I'm doing an energetic reading, a reading on the universe metaphorically, this is a time that I believe, and I'm really passionate because I believe that if every single one of us co-join together and recognize the ultimate purpose of the coronavirus, just like my clients that I ask to recognize the reason for their dark issue, their trauma, their broken relationship, the loss that they have, with their loved one or whatever it is. Things can repeat and repeat and repeat and be like a ghost that continues to haunt. And so we don't have to do that. When we recognize the pattern, and this is a casual Saturday night entertainment show with Terry Messenger, it is not a businessy, as you can see, I've got my potatoes in the microwave, my chicken's in the oven. For those of you who are really good cooks, and I can see there's a few good cooks on here, don't look at my meal. It's a rushed one. I'm in lockdown. So I've gone through correlating the 16 laws of success, the universal laws, and Joanna Cameron, who is an extremely gifted lady that heals people through pain, has also confirmed that isolation is really, it doesn't have to be a negative. It's a way of when people are ready and a message to turn inward, to go inside yourself. And here's my take. I felt a conviction today, a very strong conviction, you guys, that if we all as a movement, as many people, and I want you to share this, even though I've talked about a lot of nothing throughout it, I'm going to say something that I feel is very powerful, and that is that if we can understand collectively as a universe, as one, as a nation, as a world, as a universal that is wanting to eliminate this sickness in the world and get rid of it, We need to understand the purpose. I believe that energetically the reading on this comes back to what Joanna has said about turning inward and also just really finding your inner being. The isolation also, Napoleon Hill, the distancing, the social distancing. Metaphorically speaking, remember the universe doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality, and metaphorically speaking, the social distancing, I refer back to Napoleon Hill's element where he puts special layers around him for different elements of people. So for example, people that he doesn't know, he has a wall, an invisible bubble. People cannot get in. They cannot get into that space. And energetically, it's cleansing, right? It is cleansing to not energetically allow. Saturday night, Terry Messenger in her kitchen doing a casual energetic reading on the coronavirus. So he talks about the world outside and having this invisible bubble so that people's negative energy don't get in. Then he allows it to go into his, perhaps to the people he does know, so he lets them in a little bit closer. Then he has his family, he lets them in a little closer. Even with his own wife, he didn't let her into the sanctuary of his spirit and soul. He kept himself distanced. And this is the energetic reading, and I believe if we collectively as a universe, as a planet, understand there's a purpose, even amidst the tragedy of what's going on, if we recognize it's a time to clean up our act, it's a time to cleanse, it's a cleansing and purification. It's also a bit of a reality check, because how many people are worrying about all these different things, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we've got something to really be concerned about. It's almost surreal. So my reading on it is that we need to have those layers of protection. We do need to, even when the coronavirus fizzles out, and it will fizzle out, just like SARS, just like swine flu. Once it's gone, you guys, I want you to remember to love on one another. I want you to remember to appreciate the community that you can be in together. I want you to know that your life is, there's my potatoes. Your life is so divine, and that your friends and your family, I can't see my close family. I can't see my parents. I cannot see my, my daughter and my grandbaby, and I'm so fretful about that because I worry that he will forget me. And I did FaceTime with him the other day, but it's a real wake-up call. It's a real perspective shift. So if we collaboratively realize the higher purpose in this, what is the higher purpose? What can this mean? What could this truly, don't look in my really messy fridge. I better close the fridge. What does it mean for us? What is it that we need to clean up our act with when everything settles down? Who do you need to, when everything's gone, who do you need to shield yourself so that you are protected? So guys, that's my take. I just thought I'd come to you Saturday Night Live. And, it's because there's so many people that are probably at home. There's probably so many people that are in lockdown or quarantined. And I want to say to you, find the time to really, really, truly just tap into yourself and just recognize the true value of your life. Give thanks for the true value of your life. And guys, as you give true value, if you have only just jumped on the live stream, I've given a reading on what energetically I feel this coronavirus is representing. And I talked about isolation. I talked about the cleansing. We talked about going in and really looking within ourselves. And also I talked about the social distancing being the element of, you know, ensuring, not in real life when we're all well and when this is gone again, but the ability to be able to shield yourself. So if someone is saying something nasty to you, instead of internalizing it, instead of looking into what people are saying to you and feeling hurt, instead just step back, just distance yourself, just like the coronavirus is causing us to do, and ask yourself the question, if someone's hurting, remember this, hurting people hurt people. If someone is saying something or doing something, ask yourself, what is it that they are lacking? What is it that could be possibly hurting them to cause them to do that, to say that? When you ask yourself the right questions, what can I do while I'm at home, while this is happening? What can I do to make a difference in my life? What can I do? Can I clean up my home? Can I clean out my cupboards? Can I clean out my fridge? Would someone like to help me? So whatever it is, I want you to make the most of whatever it is, because life is precious every single day. I've been counting down the days since I got back from the Gold Coast, since I've been in a public space, and they say 5 days. Today's day 4, tomorrow's day 5. Every day I'm saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God, I'm healthy. Thank you, God. Thank you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And I pray for all of you who are here watching, liking this, that I pray a golden light around you. I pray that you can have the golden light of protection, the bubble, and the realization of knowing there's a higher purpose, so we can collectively get rid of this CV-19 coronavirus and get on with our lives again. However, come back to reality and to the life that we're going to have with a whole new different perspective, with a perspective of knowing what we truly, truly have, as a shake-up call, a wake-up call, and as a way to rapidly transcend and rapidly change the trajectory of your life forever. I'm Terry Messenger, and I hope you are enjoying yourself wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing. Remember to love who you're with and be awesome. See ya.